Welcome back to the Shred the Spread podcast. We have been on a 2-week hiatus, a much needed break.
Mhm.
We barely went 500 this year, and that's the goal each and every year is to be above 500. However, as you guys know as sports bettors, anything below 54%, technically you lose money. This is our chance to get it all back, to get in the green, to get into the winning category, and it starts this week. This super wild card weekend. We have 6 NFL games, a lot of good games. We're going to get right into it. But before we do that, let me bring on my co-host, my right-hand man, my dude. Welcome back. I know what's going on, man.
Yeah, what's going on, my guy? Welcome back, and wow, welcome back at a great time. The Eagles and Commanders are in the fucking playoffs together for the first time since the podcast started. So, man, this is a great time. Great time. This is not back at it. Like I said, that 2 week hiatus was much needed, and yeah, man, I'm ready to deliver. Wild Card Weekend is where wild money is made.
Yeah, we hope everybody had a happy and healthy and safe holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Happy New
Yep.
Year 2020, 2025. This is going on the 4th year of the podcast, which is crazy to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Dino, just wanted before we get started, just want to say thank you. It's been awesome. And
Oh
let's
yeah.
get right into the playoffs where we have been money every single year of the
Single year.
podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One thing's to say, the Bengals gave it their all for us. After
Yes. Yes.
after basically walking on a needle and threading the needle all season, just barely having a chance to make the playoffs. Unfortunately, Carson Wentz couldn't handle business on the final game of the season for the Chiefs. Some would say the Chiefs lost on purpose to keep the Bengals out of the playoffs. I am in particular suspicious about that because who would want to face that team right now? But
Of course.
we, on the other hand, have our two favorite teams, the Eagles and the Commanders, alive for the Super Bowl.
Yes, sir.
Let's not dilly-dally anymore, Donnell. Let's get right into it.
Let's go.
Leading us off, we have Saturday, 4:30 Eastern Time. The Los Angeles Chargers travel to Houston. The Chargers are 3-point road favorites. Offense has been on an uptick. Got J.K. Dobbins back, a team that is trending in the right direction health-wise, against a team that just lost Tank Dell for the season, already down in the dumps with Diggs not there. It's really a Joe Mixon and Nico Collins led offense at this point. Defense for the Texans has been a little wishy-washy over the last few weeks. But we've got a decent matchup to start us off for the wild card weekend. Dino, what are you thinking in this game?
I think the Chargers defense will once again, like they did in every game so far this year, just lay their imprint on the game. Houston's offense has been wishy washy at best throughout the whole entire season. It really takes Herculean efforts and Joe Mixon scoring 3 to 4 touchdowns for them to get about 25 to 30 points at this point. It's been very lackluster. The pass protection has been absolutely abysmal. They're ranked 29th in sacks this year as far as taking sacks this year offensively. So I don't really expect. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't really expect much from the Texans. Sorry if I hurt any feelings with the Texans, but it's just been a rough year. And C.J. Stroud has had a really rough sophomore slump, and when you don't have protection along with that, and your defense has been wishy-washy, it's not really going to work out. I feel like the Chargers are honestly have the better coach. Jim Harbaugh has been here before. He's been in the national championships and Super Bowls, NFC championships. He's been here before. So honestly, with the coaching, the Chargers being number one in points per game defensively, J.K. Dobbins is back. They scored 34 points in their last 3 games. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to make a case for the Texans right now. So honestly, I would take the Chargers spread. I think it's at 3. I would take the Chargers spread. I got them winning 23-17, a 6 point game, and I got them basically handling business.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I also have the Chargers. I love them at 3 or better. Three
Hmm.
and a half, not so much just because the number, and I do believe this is going to be a lower scoring game. But
Right.
I'm going to my GOAT. Shout out to all of the fantasy winners. That includes myself. And it
Hmm.
started and finished with not only the rookie, Lad McConkey. And
Yes,
I'm
sir.
going back to the well, Donnell. I
Yeah,
love his
man.
reception. I
Yes.
love his receptions over
Mm-hmm.
yards. I love his receptions over yards. I think he's been one of the biggest red zone targets for Justin Herbert over the last few weeks. I mean, you can see this guy. He can start off the game and go into halftime with 10 receptions and 100 yards, and it's like you blink and
Yeah,
he's got 50 yards. Like he has
literally.
been insane. He's been consistent, and he's getting more target share in the red zone. So, I mean, you're getting a plus 175 touchdown at the best book right now for McConkey. I mean,
Yeah,
how
that's
do you not
easy.
play that? He's their
Yeah,
number
that's
one
easy. Yeah.
target. I mean, he's their number one threat in the red zone behind J.K. Dobbins. And we already know this Texans D line. They're gonna do their best to slow the running game down, which means it's gonna be a lot of quick passes to McConkey. We already seen Quentin Johnson. He's had the case of the drop, so he has had an up and down target share. But McConkey's been the sure-handed guy. So I like McConkey for his receptions over yards. Um,
Mm-hmm.
on the other side of the ball, Nico Collins, his receptions is sitting at 6.5. I know a lot of people like usually playing Nico Collins receptions, but in a low scoring game, I feel like they're going to rely on Joe Mixon a lot more, as Dino mentioned earlier. I
Mm-hmm.
expect Joe Mixon to be the workhorse here, and I expect Nico Collins, as he did a few weeks ago, to go way under his receiving yards and receptions. It's so inflated because of the Tank Dell injury that you're really losing value on the over. So on anything, I like the under for Nico Collins. Uh, Joe Mixon rush attempts, if you can get at 16.5 or better, I do like that as well. That's just a little side note, a little sprinkle for those of you guys
Mm-hmm.
looking for props with the game. But I agree, Dino. Starting off 1-1 for the Chargers.
Yeah. Let me throw a little extra one here too. Yeah, and honestly, C.J. Stroud under in the
Yeah,
passing yards right now, especially with the game's probably going to be drawn out. Expect crafty, long drawn out drives from the Chargers. Trying to just wear the defense down at this point and just let their defense stay, off the field as quick as possible. So yeah, under on C.J. Stroud's passing yards.
cool. So that's the Chargers and the Texans to kick us off. And now we go to Saturday night. Amazon Prime. We have the
Good God.
Baltimore Ravens hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Ravens are up to 9.5 point favorites at most books. No way they give us a 10. No way they give us a 10
Nah, not
because
at all.
you already know
They
if we
shouldn't.
see a 10, I'm gonna have to jump on it. I haven't actually played anything on this game, um, besides Mark Andrews' touchdown. He has been money,
Money, money.
money, and he is
Mm-hmm.
consistently getting a plus number. I I don't get it. I don't get it. If you can get Mark Andrews at a decent number, I'll tell you exactly what it is on FanDuel right now. You can get Mark Andrews at plus 135. I mean, I'd play him probably all the way down to plus 110. He is, besides Derrick Henry, he's been getting all their red zone targets, and obviously, Zay Flowers being out is, it's huge for that Steelers defense, but it's even more so for Mark Andrews, Derrick Henry, Rashad Bateman. You see,
Yeah.
Rashad Bateman has been getting a lot
Yes.
of targets too, and there is
Mm-hmm.
some value on him. I know a lot of it, well, most of it, I should say, is inflated because of Zay Flowers, but you've got Rashad Bateman, who's sitting at his receiving yards, is sitting at 45.5. He could get that on 2 catches. We've been seeing he's over Zay Flowers. Rashad Bateman's been their deep man. So, well, I guess him and Isaiah Likely, ironically, and they're both sitting at,
Yeah.
Isaiah Likely sitting at 28.5 receiving yards.
Yeah.
He's going to be the guy where you're going to see him sneak out of the backfield, and he's going to be 30 yards downfield, and they're going to give him his one-on-one opportunities. So now against a disciplined Pittsburgh defense, that may not be the case, but I mean, we just saw this a few weeks ago where Lamar he finds his guys. So Zay Flowers not being there is very it's not going to hurt the Ravens as much as we think it is
Mm-hmm.
because Zay Flowers has kind of been their receptions screen guy. But we've seen Lamar over the last few weeks take big steps. He's throwing down the field. He's looking for the big plays, and it all starts with Mark Andrews. So, regardless of the side and total, I think my favorite play in this game is Mark Andrews anytime touchdown. What about you, Donnell?
No, I like that's literally the direction I was about to
Awesome.
go. I played him last week. I mean, if you played him the last 3 weeks, you made bread. I mean, you made money. I mean, like I said, he has been absolutely Mr. Consistent, and with Zay Flowers being out of the lineup, it's even more of a reason to do anytime touchdown. I would actually like to throw in too Isaiah Likely touchdown as well. I feel like it's still going to be just the two tight ends kind of get the scores. I think Isaiah Likely's vertical threat, along with Rashad Bateman going down the field, is going to open up a lot of seam, a seam or two for Likely to get down in the middle of the field. And honestly, like I said, we always consider Pittsburgh Steelers as being a disciplined defense, but at what areas? It's the front line.
Right.
The outside and the secondary, that's where they kind of have trouble with. Even sometimes with the linebackers with the mismatches with Andrews and Likely. So, like I said, this is going to be a tough game for the Steelers. Like I said, if it gets to 10, you're definitely playing the Steelers plus 10. I don't see why you wouldn't. And honestly, I might actually may play him at 8.5, possibly at 9.5 as well. I'm still kind of on the fence about it, but for the most part, yeah, you take the receiving props with Andrews, Likely, and then, like I said, if you want to do Bateman receptions just because Flowers is out, that's another good one as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're playing a side here, you have to go with the divisional dog. I mean, this is the third time these teams have played this season, and the Steelers won the
Yeah.
first one, which we kind of predicted. The Ravens, I expected the Ravens to handle business the second time they played, which they did. But this is going to come down to discipline, T.J. Watt, and are the Ravens going to be able to move the ball downfield at will as they have over the last few weeks? I expect the Ravens to move the ball. Don't get me wrong, but I do expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to kind of get out of this rut a little bit because they haven't been
Yeah.
great over the last few weeks. Russell Wilson, we got to
Oh
see him
boy.
connect on a couple passes because it just.
Yeah.
I mean, we know George Pickens was out a little bit, missing a few games, but they've got to get back on the same page, and it's got to start fast. And we've seen the vulnerability of this Ravens defense time and
Yes.
time again. They're not a
Indeed.
set in stone defense. They can let up points. They've done it all season. Now, over the last few weeks, they've kind of righted that ship. But that doesn't mean that doesn't exist. They made a few changes in the backfield, benching Marcus Williams for a little bit. But what's his name? Stevens, the number
Yeah.
21. I mean, the guy's
Yeah.
burnt toast out there. I mean, he looks like he's running the Bengals defense at the beginning of the year. He has no business being out there. And I know he makes a couple big plays here and there, but that guy is a pass interference penalty magnet. So I expect Russ to take a couple deep shots, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, 9.5. That's a high number. I know a lot of people on the Ravens, but if we're playing a side here at the STS podcast, we will be on the Steelers.
Yes, sir.
And that leads us into another big spread. We've got the Denver Broncos traveling to Buffalo. Rookie quarterback on the road against the favorite for MVP, Dino. What could go wrong?
Oh boy. You know what's funny about this? And I kind of sat back, and of course you probably already seen the statistic that ESPN's been putting out. There's been 1.5 upsets, at least 1.5 upsets in the last 46 years since that's been tracked. I'm gonna shock the world here. I'm taking that Broncos 8.5, and I may take money line. I feel
Wow.
like this is by far my nuts on the line pick. Big shocker of the week. I really honestly feel like the Denver Broncos defense is going to cause a little bit more of a hassle for Josh Allen. And honestly, I understand that Bo Nix is a rookie quarterback, but that man is so poised for him to be able to withstand. I mean, like I said, carry his team to 11 wins and be able to kind of be lateral down the field. I mean, look, his receiving talent's not the greatest. I mean, let's be real. His receiving talent's not the greatest, but he's been able to kind of spread the ball, get looks, and Sean Payton has been dedicated to running the ball a little bit more. I feel like Sean Payton's play calling on offense is going to be able to kind of reverse what the Bills can do on defense. And honestly, I feel like the Denver Broncos will play their best defensive game they play all year. So that is my bold prediction for the wild card week.
Wow.
Mic drop.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. That number is ridiculously high for a defense that has been really stubborn when it comes to yards. They don't let up a lot of yards. Pat Surtain has been one of the best, if not the best, cornerback in football this year. And they have a quarterback finally with the Broncos that can extend plays with his legs. He can run confidently. And we've seen him over the last few weeks just make big plays time and time again. I mean, the Broncos and Bengals game was so electric. I mean, Bo Nix just rolling out to the right, throwing a deep bomb into the end zone to take the game to overtime, which they ended up ultimately lost. But you see he has big play potential, and Sean Payton trusts him, and that says a lot.
Yeah.
So, because you kind of saw the relationship that Sean Payton had with
Wilson,
Russell
it was
Wilson,
disconnected.
and
It was
then it's
disconnected.
night and day with Bo Nix. So it's like
Hmm.
it's a completely different team with a rookie quarterback, and he's got big play potential. He's got the Josh Allen potential to break off and run for a big play, and he's got a little bit more speed than Josh. Josh makes up with size over speed, but nevertheless, it wouldn't be anything for both of these quarterbacks to have a rushing touchdown each this game.
Literally, yeah,
So
literally. Hmm.
yeah, that's an angle. I I don't feel too strongly on either side of this. I think the spread is about right. I mean, I have it at 7.5. It's at 8.5.
Hmm.
So technically, you're getting a point of value here with the Broncos. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this goes down to a wire. I mean, we've seen this Buffalo Bills as the Ravens defense has been very vulnerable. They let
Susceptible,
up points.
man. Very
So,
susceptible.
if you leave the door open in a playoff game, sometimes the sometimes the ball rolls the way that you weren't expecting. So, like Dynel said, there's usually one upset. There's usually, I mean, one big upset. Not we're not talking about like a
One
one or
big one.
2 point spread. There's usually one big upset that happens, and I I wouldn't be shocked. I'm gonna say this. I think the Broncos probably have a better chance to beat the Bills, and the Steelers have a chance to beat the Ravens. I'll say that.
Right.
I'll say
And
that.
I get you, and I get you. And honestly, like I said, when I said it out loud, like even me thinking about it, because you sent the playoff bracket over the weekend. So when I made my bracket, I was like, damn, I wonder what the fuck they put. But I knew once people saw my bracket, they're gonna be like, yo, what the fuck is this kid talking about?
No, I
like
mean
like dead ass.
there is a
So
path to success for the
yeah, there
Broncos.
is.
If
Most certainly.
if Josh Allen, we've known over his career, he's had a history of turning the ball over. He's had a unicorn year with that this season. So,
Right.
he has the least turnovers in football, which is ridiculous because this guy has just been such a hothead where he runs for 3 touchdowns but also has 3 fumbles. Like he has that in his bag where the turnovers can be contagious. So, um, I will say I'm shocked, but
Yeah,
I see
yeah.
I can see it. It's not like I couldn't see it. I can see it. So, that's what I will say. All right, let's move on
Yep,
to
yep.
the Birds. We've got the Green Bay Packers traveling to the link to face the returning Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia
Hmm.
Eagles. The Eagles are sitting
Hmm.
at 4.5 point favorites at most books. I'll say this. Um, do I think the Eagles win? Yes. Do I think the Eagles surprisingly and handily hold this game? I do. I have Eagles by up to 6. I'd bet them up to 6
Yeah.
confidently. Um, we saw Jordan Love with his hand injury, and uh, you saw Malik Willis come in versus the Bears and mess around, throw some passes, and I don't know. There's been speculation that the Packers are potentially hiding what Jordan Love has, and it's more than just a little shake it off type of thing, and it's actually lingering. So I know they said he's a full participant, and regardless, playing in Philadelphia with this is I was just speaking, with my dad. This may be the most talented roster the Eagles have ever fielded in their history. In team history, this may be the most talented team. And that just sounds crazy to think about that we're kind of living in this, this moment of history. And the defense is the big component where I give the Eagles the edge because one, these offenses are relatively even, and we know that. Where the Packers make up for strength, at the line, Barkley beats out Jacobs with finesse, and obviously we know Barkley can be an extremely physical runner, but he has a finesse in his bag that Josh Jacobs doesn't. When it comes to wide receivers, you have to give the Eagles the edge. When it comes to the offensive line, you have to give the Eagles the edge. So, when it comes to quarterback, it could be up for debate, but obviously, and trying to put my bias aside, you give Jalen Hurts the edge. So we know Jordan Love has had history of interception issues, and he's kind of cleaned it up this year. Well, not to start the year, but over the last few weeks. I will say this. I think this Eagles defensive line is going to wreak havoc on that Packers offensive line, and I think they're going to make Jordan Love have some issues. So I lean the Eagles here. Uh, Going with my bread and butter, Jalen Hurts touchdown. This prop market for the Eagles for me is difficult. Everything seems really priced accordingly. Um, you kind of saw Goddard's back, so target share is going to be, all over the place, and you don't know if AJ Brown's going to have 11 targets or 2 targets. So, and we know he's banged up. So, monitor the health of AJ Brown. If he is playing very minimal snap count, or if he just doesn't look right, that's big. So, but I expect the Eagles, if I will say this, if you like the Packers, play them first quarter or first half. The Eagles just scored their first points in the first quarter like a week or so ago. I think they've only scored a point in the first quarter two games this year. So you could get cheeky and take the Packers in the first quarter, but second half bets. If you can get the Eagles at 3 or better sometime live throughout the game, we know the Eagles show up in the second half. So I am leaning the Birds all the way up to 6, and I will be looking for a live line. If I can get 3 or better, dropping the hammer, Donnell.
Oh, most certainly, and I'm backing you 100% with that. I feel like the Eagles handle business. I mean, there's no. I'm just going to keep it nice and simple. They're going to go in there and they're going to handle business. Jordan Love, like you said, his status is a little banged up. You saw his hand injury last week, but even before the hand injury, struggled once again against a good defense. Man, just threw the ball and turned the ball over. Like it gets to a point where, like you said, when Jordan Love isn't turning the ball over, he's great. He's really really good. He can really, and he's a franchise quarterback. But he has these, but like I said, boneheaded, inconsistent games where you have a 2 interception game here, 1 touchdown there, and you're just not able to move the ball down the field. Christian Watson, God bless his heart, I mean, hurt
Yeah, it
again.
sucks.
And we pray, and I pray for him as far as that, because that man's been through a lot as far as injuries wise, and this one looks a little bit more serious than all of them. So I really hope he gets back right. But it's just, if it's not Josh Jacobs running for over 100 or 150 yards, you're not winning this game. And with that Eagles front seven, I mean, the secondary, there's 2 rookie boys on the outside playing well. Granted, I know they're rookies, but they're more than ready to handle this moment against Jaden Reed and Dobbs and that collection of groups. So I got them handling business. The defense has been good all year. They're going to go ahead and show why they are the number 2 seed, or why they should be the number 1 seed as far as I'm concerned. Because honestly, I think they're probably one of the best teams. I think they're the best team in the conference right now as we speak. So I feel like they handle business, do what they do. You gave the props already. I'm just gonna leave it there.
Sounds good. I rambled on about the Eagles for a while. Our next game is the Commanders and the Buccaneers. Buccaneers -3 at home, facing red hot Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. Before I pass the mic to you, I'm just gonna say, targeting Terry McLaurin touchdown, anytime touchdown Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
He's been my bread and butter this season. But with that being said, Dino, I'm gonna pass the mic over to you.
Now, before I go ahead and get fully into it, I'm gonna say this personally. Right now, with all due respect, like I said, I'll talk about like the upsets and the weekends, whatever. I honestly believe. I hate to do this because it's my team, but if I'm thinking realistic and I'm thinking of a betting sense, I really have the Buccaneers winning this one as far as the money line. Now, granted, I'm not saying you shouldn't play Commanders money line, because honestly, we by far definitely have a path to win this game as far as I'm concerned. But I've been saying this all year, and this is what's prevented me from betting on the team all year long. That defense stinks, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
and I understand that I get Marshawn Lattimore back as far as the secondary, but whoever's playing number 2, granted, Mike Sanders still might play the slot a little bit, or he's forced to play outside, but I definitely can see Jalen McMillan definitely burning us deep for a couple to honestly 2 touchdowns. Honestly, that's my kind of like my big bet of the week. Jalen McMillan, 2 touchdown catches. So that also means Baker Mayfield, 2 touchdown passes if you want to do that. Baker Mayfield yards. I mean, just go ahead and fade the Commanders defense as far as props. And here's what I will say is I love Jaden Daniels and what this offense has done. Cliff Kingsbury has done a lot of credit, but as far as I'm concerned, the slow starts in the last few weeks have been very, very concerning, especially against Dallas, where you supposed to go in here and you handle business. I grant it's a division game, but you gotta have to start hot in the playoffs, because the one thing about the Bucks is they play consistent football throughout the whole game. They start fast, they start good, they finish good all throughout. The Bucks defense is susceptible in the secondary, and that's where I think we can attack them. But our O line isn't the best, and we all know that the Buccaneers can force a little bit of pressure. Granted, once again, Jaden Daniels works his magic. He's one of the top quarterbacks against the pressure and against the blitz. But there's only going to be so much a rookie can do as far as saving his team. I mean, he bailed the Commanders out in 5 games where he scored a touchdown in the last 30 seconds in 5 games. He's bailed us out I don't know how many times. And I just think that with a quarterback like Baker Mayfield, a Tampa Bay team who has been here before with a good coach behind him, and I forgot his name. Is it Todd Bowles? That's not Todd
Yeah,
Bowles.
Bulls.
It is Bowles. It is Bowles. Yeah, Todd Bowles. I mean, I feel like the Buccaneers have picked up momentum at a good time. When they looked like they were down and out, they came back. They won. Like I said, they got hot. They won 4 straight. Mike Evans came back at a good time. And like I said, I would be, like I said, I get Chris Godwin's going to be out, but Jalen McMillan's a dog. And honestly, I don't see us really stopping that defense. High scoring game, definitely bet the over. This is going to be one of those 33-30 games. Definitely, to me, over I think it's at, 52 points right now? 53
50
points
and a
right now on
half
the
is the
market?
best book right now.
50 and a, yeah, oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, you slam the over, you take the you fade the Buccaneers defense, and you take Jaden Daniels rushing yards. I mean, it slaps. I mean, he's cleared it for the last 3 weeks. I think he had 94 rushing yards one game, 127 rushing yards in the game clinching game to get to the playoffs. Like he's had to do that. Literally had to work magic all throughout the year, and I just feel like the magic is just not going to be enough to stop the Buccaneers personally.
Yeah. I think I'm toe to toe with you basically on everything. Bucks at -3 or better. I like. If you get the
Right.
Commanders at 3.5, I feel like you kind of have to take it.
Pick the Commanders, right?
But yeah, dude, Jalen McMillan has been. I can't
Nasty,
believe.
bro.
Like I truly
Nasty.
can't believe how much he stepped up in this role. And it sounds crazy because we know Godwin's like more of a reception guy, over the middle, yards after catch. But McMillan has brought this level of explosiveness to this offense that we haven't seen. Like we haven't seen a receiver that is just always downfield making a play on the ball. And we've got Mike Evans, who is, he's another 1,000-yard season, and he's been finding the end zone time after time. So, I mean, Mike Evans and McLaurin are my favorite touchdown scorers. I agree with you on the Jaden Daniels rushing, but unfortunately, I do lean the Bucks here. And it's just I can't get out of my head what the hell Baker Mayfield did to the Eagles last year. Like I can't get out of my head. He did it twice. Like he lit our defense up twice. And our defense last year, it wasn't great, but it was a little bit better than this Commanders defense this year. And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
sucks. But I will say this, dude. Jaden Daniels has been finding ways to win when it kind of
Yes.
seems irrational. And so
Yeah.
I'm never going to count the Commanders out. This is a
Right.
lean. I'm not going to play the Bucks, but this is if putting money on the line here. Got to go with the veteran quarterback who's been in this situation before. But
And, and-
never count out the
and-
Commanders.
right. And real quick before I forget, and I need to tell you guys this now, guys. A lot of Mizukias, whatever prop you can find, to take it.
Isn't he
just
always
take it.
open?
The targets. I mean, the targets is alarming. Like it's to the point where I feel like he's getting thrown the ball 7 to 10 times a game. His targets has definitely increased. He's definitely exceeded my expectations. Has definitely stepped up. Yeah, he definitely dropped a wide open touchdown, and that was ass. But he made up for it. For us to set up that touchdown with a nice ball and a nice catch from Marcus Mariota right at the 2-yard line to set up that touchdown to get us in position to take the lead. So, like I said, man, any Zukias props, like he's gonna get at least 7 targets. I don't know what his receptions is at. It's usually
I can
low.
find it for you in a second. Receiving
I'm right here with
props,
you.
receptions,
Right here
Zacchaeus,
with you.
3.5.
Come the fuck on. Are you serious?
Juice to the under too.
Like, you get what I mean? Like, I think he's had 4 receptions in the last 4 games. That's boggling. And honestly, I would take over in the yards too. His yard total is at, I think 40 plus is -140. 50 is at plus 125. Do whatever you can. Work some Zacchaeus in there. Trust me. Work some Zacchaeus
Yeah,
in there.
he's a sleeper. Not a lot of people know about
Yeah.
him. He's jumped
Right.
around from team, Falcons, Eagles, Commanders. But people don't. He every time I watch the Commanders, I feel like he always 14 has always got the ball. It's nuts. You're
Literally,
right. I had never even realized that, but now that you said, I'm glad you did.
it's nuts.
Yeah, I'm
It's
gonna
nuts.
tell you on that one. Zacchaeus props. Yeah, he seems like he's always open. Um, so that brings us to the final game, and my God, this is one of the ones I'm looking forward to the most.
Yes, sir. Yes,
We've got
sir.
the Rams technically hosting the Vikings. The Rams are the home team. The game got moved from LA to Arizona because of the wildfires, uh, which only helps my angle here because number one, the Rams really don't have much of a home advantage as it is.
Thank you.
But now that they've gotten moved, the books moved the line from 1.5 to 2.5. And I don't care what anybody says, 2.5 has been such a key number. These 23, 21, uh, whatever games.
Killer,
I mean, 2.5,
killer.
2.5 has been so key over the last few years that makes me like the Rams even more. Spoiler alert, I'm on the Rams. The last team that the Vikings lost to before the Lions, you guessed it, the Los Angeles Rams. There's one thing that I will never get out of my head with Matthew Stafford, and he is one of the best quarterbacks and elite against the blitz. He reads it so well, and he's got two really big playmaking wide receivers where he can hot route, get their attention, whatever he needs to do to get them in order for them to be open. And you saw it time and time again over the last few years. Uh, I will say this, though. The Rams have not been putting up a lot of points over the last couple weeks. I don't know if that's just kind of Stafford, being, you know, unhealthy, dealing with lingering injuries, but you will see, you kind of saw it last week, Jimmy Garoppolo led the Rams to a high-scoring game, and that just shows you the scheme is there to be successful. The players are there to score the ball. Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nakua, you got Higbee back. I mean, there's just all the weapons are coming into fruition. I expect Stafford to come out here and handle business. You saw Sam Darnold last week missing a lot of throws. Oh my
Oh my
God. I
God.
mean,
Yeah, he did.
you
Yeah,
would have
yeah,
thought
he
he was
was.
back in New York at
Right.
MetLife. I,
Right.
I can't believe it. So you can see you don't really know what Sam Darnold you get. He's the wild card, but you know generally what Matthew Stafford you get. He's gonna sling the ball. He's gonna manage the game. He's gonna avoid turnovers and turnover worthy plays, and he's gonna hit his playmakers and let Cup and Puka do the work. That's what the scheme is made to do. Kyron Williams there to just right the ship and keep it afloat. And next thing you know, they run the ball down your throat 20 times, and all of a sudden Puka Nakua beats the safety out of the back, and he's gone. So the Rams are a team that you have to be extremely disciplined against because they will make you work for stops. And I think Matthew Stafford, he had the week off to get healthy, get his mind right. I'm not worried about having him, like having that technical bye, but this guy's been around before. He's been in the playoffs before. He's won a Super Bowl. I mean, he's
Yeah.
gonna read the defense and he's gonna make the play. So I gotta take the Rams here plus 2.5. I think the Vikings story comes to an appropriate ending for what my preseason predictions were. I didn't expect the Vikings to be this good. I don't think anybody did. I
Mhm.
think this is where the Cinderella story ends, Donnell.
I'm gonna kind of be, yeah. So for as far as me, I don't kind of have a side here. I mean, the Rams bromance continues with Jared. I kind of assumed that at this point. Like I said, that's the go-to team, man. And honestly, for good reason. They got hot. We said literally the week they got hot, and the week when they started their run, we said, you know they're gonna get hot, right? Like this is this is the time where they get hot. And sure enough, they went in there and got on the move. I mean, they played good football. I mean, they played good enough football to win. I'm gonna say that. Like I said, the offense sputtering scares me. Like you said, Jimmy Garoppolo going down there and playing that game kind of does help a little bit with the vision. But I think the biggest thing with me is I can't like I've been counting out the Vikings all year long, and they backhand me in my face every single time. So I'm gonna say this. I feel like the Vikings losing that last week of the season, that last game. Yes, they lost home field advantage, but I feel like that was probably one of the better things that could have happened to them. If they weren't going to get home field off of that, they had to get smacked in the mouth. Last week of the season, they've been riding high. I feel like a lot of the games they've been, kind of eking out, kind of getting by. I feel like this kind of will wake them up a little bit. Ooh, kind of smell the air, and I really feel like the Vikings are in a position to where like I said, you buy them low, you get them at a time to where they, like I said, they're down, they're going to be motivated. They got bounced out by the division rivals to get the number one seed. They're dropped down to 5 because of that, and they're going to be looking to get revenge, but by all means. So honestly, in the way I think about it, I got the Buccaneers beating the Commanders as far as that. So they will be playing the winner. So they will be playing that, and I have the Vikings beating the Rams here if they do. And like I said, I'm kind of flip flopping. So if it does happen to be that, the Rams will play the Vikings in the second round of the playoffs, and I feel like they're going to be definitely motivated to get to that point. And honestly, let's be real. Like I said, we know a lot of revenge, a lot of get back comes around each and every year. And if the Vikings get an opportunity to where they win this game and set themselves up with a Lions and Vikings matchup for the third time, we all know it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row in the same season. So so in my heart, do I believe the Vikings win? Yes, but I'm not willing to put money on it as of now. But I'm letting you know if they do end up beating the Rams and they go into Detroit, I'm letting you know right now it's going to be some hell raised if they do get to that point. So I'm going to bank on them bouncing back, buying them low,
Yeah, I mean,
and they're going to ride high.
I see why you say that. Buying low on a team that has that potential, and Justin Jefferson coming off of his worst game of the season. I mean, it only
By
sounds
far.
right. Um, O'Connell has been the talk of the town coaching wise. So I mean,
Literally.
the guy
Literally.
he's a great coach and he's got a talented team. I think
Hmm.
this is just going to be, to me, this just comes down to the quarterback. And I'm going to back the quarterback that's been here before, who
Yeah.
has the
Yeah.
pedigree,
I feel you.
has the resume. I,
Feel you.
I mean, this is just I have to do it because I was so down on the Vikings. I can't take it. I can't let myself. I can't let
Yeah,
myself
I
pick the
know.
Vikings
I
because
know,
of how
bro.
down I've been on them. Because I know the second I put $1 on the Vikings, they go out here and lay an egg. So give me the Rams plus 2.5. Hopefully we can meet in the middle here. Maybe the Vikings squeak out a win, but I cover, and we'll both be happy. So I'm taking the spread. Dino takes the Vikings to win. We'll see if we can come to a happy median. But that wraps it up.
Right.
6 games, super wild card weekend. Man, can't wait. Waited all season for playoffs, and it felt like just last week I was watching the Packers and the Eagles play in Brazil. It's This NFL season flew by, dude.
Yeah. Oh, that was ass. Yeah. Yeah, most certainly. And like I said, well, good thing is you're not playing in fucking
Yeah,
Brazil no more. The field was
yeah,
ass.
that was
So
awful.
at least you got that out the fucking way. And like I said, bro, in Philadelphia, bro, playoffs in Philadelphia is never a good
So
time. I'm
I
letting you
guess
know that
I
right
guess
now.
we could say this.
Never a good
Dynel and
time.
I'll probably play it. I think I can get his stamp of approval. I'll be playing a Eagles Chargers money line parlay. Um, and then our
Yeah,
touchdown
yeah,
scores, just to
by
go back
far.
over it. We've got Mike Evans. We've got McMillan,
I said McMillan, but that's something you
McConkey,
want to throw that
Terry
in there. Yeah.
McLaurin, Mike Evans, Zacchaeus. I mean,
Zaki,
he's
well,
gonna have.
nah, I'm
Yeah,
not. I'm not.
why not?
I mean,
Why
hey,
not for real? Yeah.
hey,
So that's
shit.
our.
Right.
I will say the one that I do like. I'm gonna sprinkle this now that I think about it. I don't have this in my notes. Tyler Higbee, he's like plus 600 to score a touchdown.
Yes.
Why not?
Yes.
We know he was
Yes.
Matthew
Yes.
Stafford's favorite target when he
Yes.
first came. Besides Cooper Cup, outside of Cooper Cup, we know he was
Mhm.
Stafford's, bread and butter when he first got there. I expect him to kind of, go to what you're comfortable, go to what you're used to in times of need. And this is the playoffs, and he
Mhm.
trusts him. So
Mhm.
I expect Tyler Higbee work his way back into
Dude.
this offense, get more target share, and I mean plus 500 or better. Gotta take a stab at it, right?
Yeah, and I didn't say this earlier. He came back at literally the perfect time. 3 games before the playoffs, and you already know he's been a prominent target before with Matthew Stafford. And they're trust me, they're gonna be focused on game planning the
Yeah,
outside. They better
so
watch that
those are gonna
inside
be, we
this
got a
week.
lot of good games to look forward to. It starts Saturday,
Oh yeah,
4:30 Eastern. Make sure you guys get your picks in, uh, get your bets in, your props, whatever it may be. Do your due diligence. Follow us on X at @shredthespread_. You get all of our updates, news, podcasts, whatever it may be. That will all be always posted there. That's our first point of communications, social media wise. Also follow myself on X at SVCY2K. I'll let Dynel plug himself.
Yes, sir. And follow me at Dyneezy. That's at DYNEEZY. And guys, go ahead, shoot me messages, shoot me any questions. If you guys feel wondering why I'm so stupid and why I would pick the Broncos this week, hey,
Yeah,
chat at
create
me,
some
bro. I like to
conversation.
talk to you guys about it.
We finally made it to the playoffs. Let's
Hmm.
do what we do best, make our money in the postseason. That's what we plan to do. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode and coming back after our 2-week bye. We will see you next week for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs.
Yes, sir.
Until then, we'll see you.
Peace.